The reading that we heard from Acts tells us about the early church. The early believers, still called members of the way. They weren't even called Christians yet. That word hadn't come into being. But it tells us how they were together. They had all things in common, is one of the ways that it's translated. We are all called to work together to be God's hands and feet in this world. And yes, we are all individuals. And yet, when you put us all together, and I saw this very clearly yesterday because it was so day, all these varied colors, and I would look at fabric and go, that'll never go together. And in the end, it's all pieced together and it looks beautiful. But we all do it differently. There was one table downstairs yesterday, and there were 5 or 6 ladies at this table. They were all doing the same pattern on their quilt. But they chose different fabrics. And I thought, they kept showing me what they had, and it's like, yeah, but yours doesn't look like, aren't they all supposed to look the same? No, they all had a touch of the individual in them. And in fact, that is what happened yesterday. Because they were all at their own sewing machines. But at one point, Jane stood up, held up something that they'd all done together. Because everybody had to make one square for a particular quilt at the beginning of the day. And so together, they'd all created one. Something that will be beautiful and given to someone who needs it. That's the early church in action. The challenge is, 2,000 years later, what are we doing? Are we still that same church in action? Are we still putting the pieces together and bringing what we have and who we are to send it out? That's our call. That's what the Good Shepherd called us to do. Acts tells us how to do that. Be in common. Work together. So that people can actually see what's happening and it benefits all. And we are called to live in common and to go out into the world that others will know and that others want to be part of it. Go. Amen.